The listing appeared at exactly 3:33 a.m. while I was deep into my 6th hour of browsing the dark web. ChronoPod Alpha, 2089 model, BTC only. My cursor hovered over the link as I took another sip of cold coffee. The images showed a mesmerizing cube-like device, its matte black surface interrupted by pulsing red and silver accents that seemed to dance in the darkness. The retractable panels were partially open in one photo, revealing a sophisticated control system that made my heart race. Tactile buttons, holographic projections, and a digital time dial that looked almost alive. I'd been searching for months, following breadcrumbs through encrypted forums and hidden marketplaces. Most leads turned out to be scams or dead ends, but this was different. The seller's reputation was impeccable, with reviews dating back years, all for smaller items. Banned books from alternate timelines, artifacts from collapsed civilizations, things that shouldn't exist but did. The price made me sweat. 15 Bitcoin. My life savings and then some. But with what I planned to do, money wouldn't matter for long. One trip back to 2009 when Bitcoin was worth pennies, and I'd be set for multiple lifetimes. My hands shook as I initiated the transfer. The wait was excruciating. 3 days of jumping at every sound, checking tracking updates obsessively. When the package finally arrived, I was struck by its perfect geometric symmetry, a flawless cube that seemed to absorb the light around it. In my apartment, I cleared space in the living room, pushing furniture against the walls. The ChronoPod sat on my coffee table, its quantum compression technology humming with an otherworldly energy that made my teeth ache and my smartphone display glitch. The panels responded to my touch, sliding open with serpentine precision to reveal the control interface. The manual materialized as a hologram above the time dial, written in several languages, some of which seemed to move in the air. Something was wrong with the interface. When I tried to dial back to 2009, the numbers wouldn't go backward. They only scrolled forward, picking up speed like a slot machine spinning out of control. 2025, 2047, 2089, 2157, faster and faster. I tried to pull my hand away, but my finger was locked to the dial as if magnetized. My cat Luna started howling, a sound I'd never heard her make before. The air grew thick with static electricity, and the shadows in my apartment seemed to writhe with newfound depth. The ChronoPod's accent shifted from red to a deep, pulsing crimson. The numbers finally stopped. January 15, 2314. A portal burst into existence. Not the gentle blue I'd expected, but a violent crimson tear in reality. The force of its creation knocked me backward, and I fell through before I could catch my balance. The world twisted, stretched, and compressed around me. Reality bending like light through a prism. I landed hard on a polished floor that seemed to be made of some kind of shifting, liquid metal. As my vision cleared, I found myself in a vast circular chamber that stretched endlessly upward. Its walls curved like the inside of a massive cylinder. The architecture was wrong somehow, with angles that seemed to bend in ways that hurt to look at directly. That's when I saw them, the display cases. Hundreds, maybe thousands, lining the walls in spiral patterns. Each contained frozen moments of history. A Neanderthal mid-hunt, a Roman gladiator in the arena, a World War II soldier diving for cover, scenes from every era of human history. But something was wrong with all of them. Their faces were all contorted in horror, their bodies frozen in positions of desperate flight or futile resistance. "Ah, right on schedule," a voice purred from behind me. "Welcome to the Temporal Museum of Human Evolution." I turned and fought the urge to recoil. The curator stood nearly 8 feet tall, with a slender, elongated frame with skin almost translucent, showing a network of iridescent blood vessels that pulsed with a subtle blue light. His head was significantly larger and had large, almond-shaped eyes that were entirely black with rings of bioluminescent silver around the irises. He wore what appeared to be a living suit, a seamless second skin that shifted colors like oil on water. "The ChronoPod Alpha," he continued, his voice carrying harmonics impossible for a modern human vocal cord to produce. "One of our most successful acquisition tools. You see, we discovered that simply hunting specimens through time was inefficient. Much better to let them come to us." The figure gestured at the walls. "Every creature you see here thought they were traveling to the past, trying to change history." It made a sound like metallic laughter. "But the chronopod only travels one way, forward, to us, to this museum, where future generations can study the foolishness of their ancestors." I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The paralysis was starting, creeping up from my feet. "Don't worry," the curator said, adjusting something on its wrist. "You'll have an excellent position. Early 21st century crypto speculator. We've been missing one of those. The school groups will find you particularly educational." As the paralysis reached my chest, I watched a group of school children enter with their teacher. They moved with an unsettling grace, their elongated limbs gliding smoothly as if partially defying gravity. Like the curator, they had large heads and those same dark, silver-ringed eyes. Their teacher, a towering figure with elaborately patterned bioluminescent markings indicating her academic status, gestured toward me with 6-fingered hands. "And here we have a fascinating specimen from the great cryptocurrency bubble," she said. "Notice the primitive physical characteristics, the inefficient muscle-to-fat ratio, the limited cranial capacity, the vestigial features like external ears and small eyes. This specimen represents humanity during the crucial period when they first began experimenting with crude temporal mechanics." The children leaned forward, their silver-ringed eyes dilating with academic interest as they studied me through their augmented reality interfaces. One of them made a gesture with their elongated fingers, and a holographic display appeared above me, showing my biological metrics, psychological profile, and temporal origin coordinates. The last thing I saw before the paralysis took my eyes was my own reflection in their scanning devices. My primitive, obsolete form preserved as a cautionary tale for the inheritors of Earth, a relic from an age they had long surpassed. "Class," the teacher's harmonics resonated through my fading consciousness. "Can anyone tell me why the early Anthropocene period was called the Age of Digital Delusion?" A student's crystalline voice cut through my final moments of awareness. "Because they thought they could master time before they could even master themselves." "Excellent," the teacher's voice echoed, as my consciousness froze forever in this eternal moment of regret. Now, let's move on to the next exhibit. Humans who thought they could download their consciousness.
Like and subscribe.